Hi everyone, so today I want to talk to you about something that I've actually talked about in previous videos, but it's been a couple years since I've talked about it, so I kind of wanted to bring it up again and maybe go into a little more detail about how it affects my life personally, because a lot of people deal with it who have Tourette syndrome, and a lot of people who have other instances that go along with Tourette syndrome deal with this as well, and that thing is OCD, as well as the anxiety-ridden type of things that mess with my life and how they interact with my life and how I deal with them in my life from day to day. So OCD is something that can go hand in hand with Tourette syndrome. A lot of people, if not most people with Tourette syndrome, also have OCD, which for those of you that might not know, stands for obsessive compulsive disorder. Now, some of you watching this might think, oh, I have that, for sure I have that. But a lot of people have a very big misconception about what obsessive compulsive disorder is. And I say that full name because that really, I think, drives home the point of what it truly is, because it's obsessions and it's compulsions. It's not just wanting your dishes clean. It's not just liking no dishes in your sink or making sure that your house is clean or how you like things a certain way. That's not necessarily OCD. It could be an OCD tendency that you might have and might go within that spectrum. But for the most part, most people really enjoy things being clean. So that's really not what that really is. And I think it's important to bring that up because it makes OCD get kind of pushed under the rug, and it makes people that deal with severe OCD or severe anxiety from their OCD, because in my world, my anxiety and my OCD can kind of go hand in hand because I have intrusive thoughts. Therefore, it makes my anxiety rise and I get very nervous about things, or I start to have panic attacks, or I get really, really angry. And I've learned as I've gotten older that some of those angry outbursts are a lot of the times are just my anxiety levels being at an all-time high and me almost going into a panic attack, and so my body turns to anger. I'm not blaming all of my temper problems on that because I know I have some issues sometimes, but I'm starting to learn more and more about my body with anxiety and with my OCD. For OCD, and for instance, like some of my obsessions and my compulsions, I obsess over the teeny tiny things, and I obsess over little parts of things on my body. Like one of my biggest things is I'm a very big picker, and I know a lot of people out there pick a lot, like people pick at their pimples and stuff like that, which I do, but I pick at my lip. And I talked about it in my first video when I talked about OCD, but I don't just pick at my lip. I pick at my lip until it's bleeding, and then I pick some more. I tell myself to stop, and 2 seconds later I'm either picking or biting at it again. It hurts. And I hate that I do it. It hurts my teeth. It makes my jaw hurt. It makes me clench my jaw when I sleep. And I can't stand it because I always have red marks on my lips, and I hate it because I feel like that's what everybody is staring at when they talk to me. And I just can't stop. I've tried so many different things. I've gone like weeks or so without doing it, or without doing it that much. And then I get in then my anxiety levels ramp up, or my stress level ramps up, and I start doing it again. And it's this vicious cycle. And it's just my lips. It is pimples. I have little bumps all over my body, and I have little marks. You probably can't see them, so you can see like a little bit of them there. I don't know if you'll be able to see. The sun glare is too bad, but there's little marks all over my body because I get on these obsessive like rants or something, if you want to call it that, where I am looking for them. It's not just that I see them, I am looking for every single tiny little bump on my body, all over my arms, all over my legs, and then I'll have all these swollen marks all over my legs and all over my arms, and it looks like I got bit by 10 dozen mosquitoes. And I get so mad at myself afterwards because I just couldn't stop. I can't stop unless somebody stops me. And it's this really big thing that I have, and it's one of my biggest obsessions with picking at things in my body, and it's one of the things that I hate the most. But it can also get worse with my emotions and with my anxiety and with my Tourette's and everything else. Another big OCD thing for me is my intrusive thoughts, and this one plays a part in my life a lot more than it used to. I have levels of nervousness and worry that I never used to have compared to more than 2 years ago. In 2017, my family went through a really, really hard time. It was really difficult for everybody. I lost a lot of people, and there was a lot of near-death experiences in my life and in my family. and it was really traumatizing for me. It felt like every time my life was getting back to normal, there was another phone call telling me that there was bad news. And just for a glimpse of it, in January, I lost my uncle to esophageal cancer. I had another uncle who had a brain aneurysm and had very important surgery that I was very concerned about him at. My cousin, who was my uncle's son, actually passed away, and it's still really hard for me to talk about. He was very young, and it was unexpected. My papa had a heart attack and a near-death experience and had to have heart surgery. Another family member of mine passed away from cancer, and at the very end of the year, my dog, whose butt you can see right here in the video, ended up getting cancer as well. She's fine now, thank God, but it was a traumatizing year for me, and now I am constantly thinking that something bad's going to happen. Always. When my husband goes away for work, when he has to travel on a plane, I convince myself so much that it's the last time I'm going to see him that I get so scared that I'm going to get that phone call telling me that something happened to him and he's never going to come home. And obviously that's one of my biggest fears. The one time that he left, the first time he left after I went through everything that one year, I cried my entire way to work. Right after I said goodbye to him, I started bawling. In my mind, it was so real that something was going to happen to him because that's just how my life was going, and bad things were continuously happening, and I couldn't get over it. It was almost as if I was having an anxiety or a panic attack on the way to work, and I just kept obsessing over these thoughts, and they just kept coming in my mind, like, what if something happens on the plane? What if something happens in the city that he's in because this world is awful? And it was just a spiral. He had to tell me he had connecting flights. He had to tell me every single time he got off the flight, when he got back on it, when he was back in his room, every single night, because I had to know, because I was so scared. I needed updates from him constantly because I was so concerned. Thankfully, he understands that that's out of my control and that I am working on it and I'm getting a little bit better, but thankfully he works with me and he does tell me because he knows it's just such a simple task to make me feel better. But that's just like the biggest things that get in my way because I'm always worried about something going wrong constantly. I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop, as people would say, and that's what obsessive thoughts are. That's what intrusive thoughts are, and you obsess over them and you have compulsions. Like, I have a compulsion to slam my mouse down on my keyboard because it just feels right. Now, it's also a tic, but it's also just something that I feel compelled to do. Or I have a pattern of tapping the door handles. I'm looking because I have a door over there, but I tap the door sometimes when I open it, or when I shut it, I have to tap it so many times because that's just what makes my life run and makes my life go correctly in my mind. And it's just all these constant things, and it's a daily battle and it's a daily struggle, and I don't think a lot of people know that, and I think it's really important. Sorry, my dog's tail is wagging. It's important for people to realize that OCD isn't something that just means that you like things clean. Anxiety isn't something where you just get over it or you just feel anxiety for one time. It's so much more than that. I am so sorry. It's so much more than that, and she senses when I get a little worked up, and talking about this stuff works me up. So, but like I said, it's so much more than that, and I really want to just drive that point home. And I hope everybody watching, I hope they got something from this video, because it truly was just like minuscule of things of the OCD that bothers me. Maybe next week I'll do a part 2 of this and tell you more things and more of the anxiety that I've come across in my life over the past few years that I've been recognizing as anxiety, because I haven't always recognized it as that, and only over the last few years have I been making the connection that, like, oh, that's what that is. So maybe I'll do a part 2, because I didn't really get into the anxiety part of it, even though a lot of them are connected. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something from it. I'm sorry that my dog barged in on the video, but she likes to be with me at all times. So anyways, I hope you liked this video. Please let me know if there's any other videos that you would like me to do topics on, or any topics you'd like to see me discuss. I would love to answer your questions. I love when you guys reach out to me. So please know, even when I don't respond, I am seeing all of your comments, and I appreciate them so much from the bottom of my heart. It's just hard for me to get on here and respond to all of them all the time. So thank you. Keep the questions coming. Remember to subscribe, and remember to share this with your friends so everybody can start to understand what not only Tourette syndrome is, but what all the other occurring conditions are that when you have Tourette syndrome. Thanks for watching, guys.